Over the last few days, I have been streaming 1.0 over on twitch.tv/Totalxclipse, and we have made quite a bit of progress, but a lot of questions have come up about a few things that have been seen in my save. Most notably, how is it that I'm curving all of my foundations so gently and so quickly? Or how is it that I'm using diagonals and different shapes? And how is it that I'm able to merge the pieces together so well? I've also had questions about how I'm framing all of my conveyor belts and how I create these lights, various walls, or even the guilty pleasure of these barrier lights. Well, today I'm going to show you how you can do all of this in a few quick tips. Let's get to it. First things first, let's talk about the signs. So the wall that you saw that was quite shiny, well, this is just a normal sign, like you can see here, and we've just got rid of everything in the background. On top of that, we've turned emission strength off and turned it to a glossy finish, and that creates this mirror-like reflective surface, which can be used as a nice little wall in your factory, though it may be expensive because you need oscillators. On top of this, you can also create lights out of it. So if we place this one up here, and we're going to copy and paste the settings so that we've got a blank board to work from, and then we're going to turn the emission strength up, and instead of keeping it black, we're going to turn the background color up to a color that we'd like as a light, such as this light blue. And there you go, this is emitting light. Next, let's talk about how to do curves in Satisfactory, and there are a few techniques that you can use. The first one that I recommend for really tight turns that are really quick to do is through the use of the catwalk. And all we need to do with it is grab a catwalk and place it against the far edge, the opposite edge that we want to turn. And then from here, we're going to place another catwalk just against the edge of this one, but we're going to hold control. And from here, we can pivot left or right. And we're going to pivot into the curve. So we're going to turn this way. We're going to pivot the catwalk to the right. And we're going to place two catwalks in a straight line, followed by curving. Place two catwalks and then curve. And then another catwalk and then curve. And what this does is it creates a snapping position for us to use, like so. We can just snap this foundation to the edge, and we can do this all the way around to create a nice 10-degree curve, and it's really quick to do. And you can create this as a blueprint. And we are back, so we're going to now do the curves again, and this time we're doing the 5-degree style. And to do this, we're going to grab a 1 or a 2 meter foundation. It doesn't matter really which one you use, I just find it easier. And once again, we're going to place this foundation on the outer corner of the opposite direction we want to turn. So if we're turning to the right, we're going to place the foundation over on this corner here. If we're turning to the left, we're going to go to the opposite corner. So let's grab a 2 meter foundation, and from here we're going to hold control. This allows us to snap the foundation to multiple mini grids within our foundation that we're on. We're going to try and place it directly on the edge. And once you've found this position, we're going to turn it 1 increment with our mouse into the curve. And we're going to press H to lock the hologram into position. And you can see this is slightly off center, which is great. So from here, we're going to nudge it 4 places to the right and then 4 in front. From here, we can place it down, and we're now going to snap another foundation just beneath it. Like so. And you can see we've created a very gentle curve. This is 5 degrees. This time we're going to repeat it, but we do not need to turn the mouse wheel. It's already held the position of the turn. So we just need to go 4 to the side and 4 in front. Place it, place a foundation underneath and remove. And this is a great way to achieve beautiful train curve foundations, or any curves for that matter. And I highly recommend anyone who wants to do circles or curves in the game, do them using this technique, as it's much quicker. I've yet to try this with a blueprint, but I will give it a go at some point and see if we can make it easily work as a blueprint. So we've now covered curves, and a lot of you have been asking, how do I merge onto or back onto the grid, and how is it that I do such clean diagonal lines? Well, there is a little trick to that I've recently found out, literally a week before 1.0 released. I blew my mind whilst working on a video, and I've not seen anyone do this before, so I think you'll find it very useful. We're going to use nudging and barriers to create a perfect edge, and we're going to blend the 2 edges together. So here we have one edge and we have another here, and I want this to merge with this one. And we could, in theory, just run this across, but it's not really going to look very clean. And maybe, yes, we could nudge it into position, but still, if we wanted it to be against here, we have to fiddle about. Still not perfect. Well, you will never have to worry about that again with this tip. So if I just jump down really quickly, all we're going to do with this, and I should preface this and say that this only works because I always start on the grid and then I build off from the grid. If I didn't do that, this probably won't work because we'd have different heights of foundations all over the world. So always start from the grid and then work your way off via curves. But what we're going to do is grab our beam, and we're going to find the middle point roughly on here, which I do believe this is a 4 meters, so it would be here. And we're going to set this to free form. From here, bring this across to the far edge. And then from here, all we're going to do is find a snapping point on the painted beam, and we're going to nudge our foundation 4 in and 4 back, like so. Then we're going to do the same on the other side. Snap it onto the edge of the beam, then 4 across and 4 up. And then from here, we're going to just zoop these and blend them into one another. Sometimes you have to play about with it a little bit, but if we look at the edge here, they're pretty perfect. And the same goes for this edge here. So that's pretty clean on the outside. The only thing that you have to be aware of is that if you wanted to fix this section, you'd have to do it from these 2 bits or just blend them together. I think for something like this, I'd probably just fill these in, if I'm honest. Especially given Z fighting is much better in 1.0. So with that out of the way, let's talk about our 2 other things, conveyors and the barriers. So with my conveyor lifts, I will always place down my lift first, and then I usually do the output section as well. We make sure they're aligned, and then connect them up. I don't mind my lifts looking like this, but I tend to prefer them looking a bit more heavy and industrial. And so for that, I grab my small frame. This can be purchased in the Awesome shop. And I place 2 on, ooh. I make sure they're aligned with the, really? You get a photobomb me? We make sure that they are, the elevator is inside of this frame, and then from here I'm going to hold control, and on the outside section I'm going to set it to zoop, lift it up a bit, and we're just going to pull this across to the other side, and then we can delete the top 2 sections. I'm then going to do this on the other side as well. If you want, you can put them in. And that is how you do a nice industrial feeling elevator. Now my last tip for you, and one that we've only just come across, which apparently wasn't intended by the devs, I've just been told, is the low barrier lighting. And I saw these and I thought, you know what, wouldn't it be wonderful if we could get some kind of light to pop through that? And that's exactly what we did, and it works for both types of barriers. What you need to do is grab a 4-meter label sign. Then you're going to find the lower snapping point halfway between the middle of the sign and also the lower section, the lower edge. And we're going to place that down. Using our techniques that I showed you earlier about creating a light, we're going to set this to illuminated, remove the text, and add some kind of color. And then from here, we can just snap this over the top. Pretty nice. And this works for the larger one as well. So there you are, guys. We've had, what, 5 quick tips for you for when it comes to building in Satisfactory. I hope you found these useful. Do let me know if there's anything else you'd like me to talk about in regards to these tips, or different tips like this in a future video in the comments below. And do not worry, I am working on my second Let's Play, and I'm also working on the perfect guided playthrough Starter Factory, which is a new series that we're going to work on, and some layout guides for you all in the meantime. But guys, we're going to leave it there. Thank you so much for watching, as well as thanks to all of our amazing supporters on Patreon who make content like this possible. Most notably our Lunar Eclipse patrons, Fireflesh, The Calamity, Ben and Star, and our Blood Moon of the Day, which today is Jenny. Until next time, as always, ciao for now.